Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Well, hey guys, welcome to the JMOR Tech Talk Show. It is great to be with you here on episode number 5 with series 4. We have lots of great stuff to talk about here tonight. I hope you guys have been enjoying the show here that I put on every single week on Inspirations for Your Life. It's just so great to be with you. I know there's so much amazing stuff out here. And I know that you're really going to benefit from everything that we offer here. So I hope you guys definitely enjoy the show. And let's just kick this off. All right, everyone? All right. So welcome, everyone. If I haven't welcomed you enough, do check out believemeachieve.com. More of my amazing, inspiring creations, of course, 24 hours a day. But welcome, everyone, to the JMOR Tech Talk Show. Great to be with you here. Our title for tonight, which I think you guys are going to find pretty apropos, AI Showdowns, Big Tech, Moves, and Future Innovations. Let's catch the latest episode here tonight as I unveil some amazing stuff. The JMOR Tech Talk Show converts into a audio cast within 24 hours or less. So you always can catch it off on many of our other platforms, which is very easy to find at believemeachieve.com. And we're diving deep into the latest tech trends and news that is shaping our world. From legal battles to cutting-edge breakthroughs, let's get ready for an exciting episode packed with insights. So let's get started. Well, first thing I want to crack the egg on is going to be, yes, Mr. McCartney. This is a very, very interesting thing, if I have to say so myself. So McCartney has warned the UK government against allowing artificial intelligence to rip off artists, urging stronger copyright protections for creative industries. The Beatles musician expressed concerns that AI could exploit artists by using their work without compensation. McCartney highlighted the risk of tech giants benefiting from this, while the creators of the original content lose out. The UK government is currently reviewing its copyright laws, with some proposing that the artists should be able to license their work for AI training. McCartney emphasized the importance of ensuring artists retain ownership and fair compensation for their work in the face of advancing AI technology. So, unfortunately, what's been happening with artificial intelligence is a lot of people have been exploiting it. They've been using people's content without their permission. Forget paying them, not even asking their permission if they could do it. And it's not a not-for-profit. We all know the AI is going to go into a for-profit. So it's becoming a real debacle. And I agree with what McCartney's saying. And this is one of the reasons I don't want to create myself as an AI, because, the thing is, how do you control it? How do you manage it? How do you monitor it? So you really got to be very careful with your likeness, right? Your images, your voice. I don't even like to use my voice when it comes to these things from the different banks out there, right? Many of the major banks offer voice verification. And I got to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, voice verification is terrible. You should not use voice verification with banks. And let me just tell you why. So the thing is, if somebody knows your, let's say, account or information, they can actually use your voice and try to get into the account, make changes because they have used voice verification. The person doesn't go over any more details, and they'll just answer any questions you want. So that's a really, really big problem. And With some other news, which I think is very interesting. Well, Meta is starting to unveil something. Meta is supposed to test ads, which they currently are going to be rolling out just this past January 24th on threads in the US and Japan. So Meta Platform announced it would begin the testing just a few days ago, January 24th, and the goal of expanding its monetization options. So image ads, starting as it did on January 24th, were basically placed between content posts for a select group of users. Meta plans to closely monitor the test and allow businesses to extend their existing ad campaigns to threads. The company is also introducing an inventory filter using AI to help advertisers control where their ads appear. Despite not expecting threads to significantly impact revenue in 2025, Meta aims to capture more advertising spend amid ongoing volatility and rival platforms like TikTok. I have to tell you, we had used Facebook a while to do advertising, but they're not where they used to be. I think it's because they've created all these filters and it's causing a big problem. I think the best way to reach people is through the personalized contacts. Those are things like, when they sign up for email addresses, trade shows, things like that, personal events. So we'll have to keep tabs to see what they're doing. But I got to tell you something right now. The stuff that, Facebook is doing, I just frankly don't trust it. And so they're saying it's going to significantly impact revenue in 2025. I don't know. I don't know if it's really going to do what they say. I don't believe a lot of what Microsoft says, to be quite honest with you. All right, and here's one for the books. OpenAI is being sued by publishers in India. What the heck is this all about, John? Yeah, Indian book publishers, along with their global counterparts, have chosen to file a copyright law suit against the OpenAI in New Delhi. The case focuses on concerns that OpenAI's ChatGPT tool uses quote unquote copyrighted content, including books, to produce summaries without authorization. Publishers, including major names like Bloomsbury, Penguin Random House, argue that the AI generated summaries harm their sales and creative work. The case, which is part of a broader global legal challenge against AI companies, could influence India's legal framework for AI use. OpenAI has denied the claim, stating that its use of publicly available data falls under fair use. Yeah, I don't know about that. I think this is a little gray, and I think we're going to see the rules changing on this. I mean, I think you got to be very careful about using AI and where the data comes from. I just been seeing so many mistakes with AI. It's not even funny. The other day, I was just doing a test with it to see if it could do some quick calculation for making change. And so I purposely gave it the wrong answers, and guess what it told me? You're correct. I'm like, no, I'm not. Oh, I apologize. You're right. I was, that's not the correct answer. So I don't know. I think these chat engine companies, I think they're not focusing on quality. They're focusing on quantity. And that's a big concern for me, as I'm sure many other people. But this whole thing with, the little caper of what's going on with, the publishers in India, this is something that's very, very real. And it's something, ladies and gentlemen, how these foreign countries are being more, let's say, proactive with this. So we're going to have to see, what happens. But I got to tell you that this is going to set the precedent for the rest of the country. And it's not going to be the first time that we have an AI challenge with, people stating that the content it provides is basically copyrighted. So that's a big problem, ladies and gentlemen. And I think we just got to be cognizant and mindful of the dangers of AI, in the fact that some of the information on there, well, let's just say it might not be properly licensed. And if you go and use that content, well, you're going to get more than just a slap on the wrist, if you know what I mean. Well, Google boosts their efforts to combat fake news after a UK probe at them. The Google has committed to taking stronger actions against fake reviews following an investigation by the UK's Competition and Markets Authority. CMA has part of the crackdown now. Google will sanction the UK businesses and individuals involving in manipulating star ratings and place warnings alerting on business profiles linked to face reviews. So this comes after the CMA's, which is the Competition and Markets Authority's ongoing investigation, which actually started in 2021. It highlighted concerns about the influence of fraudulent reviews on consumer spending, and the CMA is set to gain additional powers very soon to enforce the consumer law. They're saying in April. Independently without needing to take cases to court. So I think this is very interesting. And, the fact that Google is now trying to clamp down, because I lost a lot of respect for Google. All right. Not to get into that whole story here, but, a while back, we decided to hire Google because we thought that by hiring Google, it would take us to the nines. What it did was it started to take us to the cleaners, and not to clean our clothes, to just basically take our money. So we decided, that we're going to drop them. I remember them being so arrogant and so nasty. And then the minute we asked questions like, well, if you're not going to do that, we're not going to work with you. Like, who the heck are you? You're Google. You're a search engine. Like, who the heck are you? So you guys have known them because they, make a lot of money. But I think things are going to change with the search engine world in the next couple of years. And right now, we already see Google trying to get into the AI world. Well, I didn't trust them in the search world, and I certainly don't trust them with AI data. We all know how underhanded they have been in the past, and this is fact. This isn't my speculation. Google has been, Google has been very underhanded in the past. And so I don't think they've changed. I think a lot of times, now that they're getting hit with these big lawsuits, they're trying to kowtow, but I don't think they're really going to change their ways. They're going to try to make people think they are, but they're really not. They're not fooling me. And ladies and gentlemen, here's a real cool one. The European Union is set to test the social media on disinformation before the German election. Yeah, check this one out, ladies and gentlemen. So the European Commission has invited major social media platforms, including Facebook, TikTok, and X, to participate in a stress test, which is actually today, January 31st, 2025, aimed at assessing their efforts to combat disinformation ahead of the German federal election. This test is part of the European Union's Digital Services Act, DSA, and will simulate various scenarios to evaluate how these platforms will respond to disinformation risks. TikTok has confirmed its participation, while others, including Meta, Snap, and Microsoft, have not yet confirmed. This marks the first such test held for a national election following a successful trial before the European Parliament elections. The test will be conductively run privately, which they did today, with the collaboration from the German authorities. Now, I have to believe that Facebook and these other companies did pop in. I mean, when we had done our research, we found out that they weren't. But I would probably say at the last minute that these other platforms were going to jump on board, because if anything, it's going to help them if they're transparent about stuff. I think the problem with a lot of these social media platforms, ladies and gentlemen, is that they're not transparent about who they are and about what they do. Now, that's not fact. I was having a conversation with a lady the other day, and telling her I was a journalist and all that. And some people, they get a little huffy and puffy. And I don't tell people I'm a journalist to brag and that I'm a member of international press to brag. I tell them that because I want them to understand how serious I am about writing, how serious I am about videography, about journalism. And right away, she was like taking me down. And I didn't try to defend it. I just said, well, that's what I do. She said, well, that's not really journalism. I said, well, I just tell people the way it is based on facts. And I could tell she was just one of these people that, got very uptight because it wasn't her way. I don't know. I would say you're going to like me, you're going to love me, you're going to hate me, and I'm going to keep going on because I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell based on what I have found through sources. I'm not going to make it up. If I'm going to state an opinion, I'll let you know. But most of the times I tell you things on fact. I tell you why I don't like something if it's above and beyond the fact. But I have good grounds for when I do things like that. And people are still reminiscing about that lights out of TikTok not too long ago. It actually happened, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys remember, that was actually on January 19th, which was, yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a week from basically this past Sunday. So I think a lot of people were very, how can I say, distraught when TikTok's partners in the US turned the lights off because they didn't want to get hit with all these fines. The question, ladies and gentlemen, is will they still have a TikTok? And that's a very, very good question. I don't have the answer for you. I know Mr. Donald Trump would like to basically have TikTok pay the United States 100 million because he's valuing it at 200 million. So I think that's an issue, and I think a lot of people might be interested in the investment, but TikTok is being very selective in who they want to buy TikTok. So I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's a very that's a touchy subject is probably the best way to the best way to put that. Will Mr. Musk, Mr. Beast, or Ellison buy TikTok? Who's it going to be? Several prominent figures, or will there be more, including, like I said, Elon Musk, Mr. Beast, which we know is Jimmy Donaldson, and Larry Ellison, who expressed interest in purchasing TikTok. As the platform is facing some potential political pressures in the United States due to national security concerns related to its Chinese ownership. Now, last year, President Biden's administration gave TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, until January 19th to sell the app or face a possible ban. Among the potential buyers, Musk, already the owner of X, formerly Twitter, has voiced opposition to a TikTok ban. Trump has supported the idea of Musk or Ellison taking ownership, with Ellison's Oracle already managing TikTok's servers. So that's an interesting, a very, very interesting thing, as I'd like to say. Meanwhile, other investors like Frank McCourt have proposed purchasing TikTok without its Chinese-developed algorithm, aiming to run the platform on U.S.-controlled technology. Ultimately, President Trump may play a significant role in selecting a U.S. buyer. But the question that everyone still keeps asking is, what benefit will TikTok do for the United States? And I think that's a very, very good question. We really don't know, what that answer is at the current moment. But we know that there's a lot of people that, let's say, got very upset when this platform went down for just less than a day, right? The question is, could America exist without TikTok? I mean, could they? The countdown's on again, isn't it? I think there are a lot of benefits to TikTok, but I do feel that it needs to be regulated. That's the thing. I don't think it's the Chinese that are running it. That's the problem. I think the problem is that no one's really policing the platform. I've got to say that if you report something, they respond to it immediately, but I still think there needs to be another level, more transparency. I just feel that there's just too much of people getting hurt. And although they're trying to resolve it, I'm not 100% certain that they have or that they'll be able to. I think the U.S. will make a huge difference if they should decide to buy it. Now, out of the $200 million valuation, the $100 million valuation would be paid back to the United States government. The question is, how much is TikTok worth without the algorithm? I think it was like $40 million. So if they don't get the US to buy TikTok, TikTok has really very little value. And we're just going to have to see what happens. But I'm very curious to know, when will the TikTok, let's say, clock tick again? So we had the January 19th day. So when will TikTok possibly be suspended? Well, we don't know exactly, but we know that Trump signed an executive order to suspend TikTok ban for 75 days. That's what he said. So he signed an executive order to keep TikTok operating for 75 days, a relief to the social media platform users, even as national security questions persist. TikTok's China-based parent company, ByteDance, was supposed to find a U.S. buyer or be banned on January 19th. Trump's order could give ByteDance more time to find a buyer, but are they really going to do this, or are they just going to milk this? According to Trump, he said, and I quote, "I guess I have a warm spot for TikTok." Well, I think the reason he has a warm spot is because it actually helped him get a lot of votes. A lot of the younger votes came out through TikTok. As you know, the platform right now, yet it has 170 million U.S. users that were not able to access TikTok for more than 12 hours between Saturday night and Sunday morning. TikTok has been able to give Mr. Trump 15 million followers since he joined last year. So, the platform went offline before the ban approved by Congress, which was done not by TikTok, but by the U.S. Companies that run it. And, after Trump promised to pause the ban recently, TikTok restored access for existing users. Google and Apple, however, still have not reinstated TikTok to their app stores. So business leaders, lawmakers, legal scholars, and influencers who make money on TikTok are watching to see how Trump tries to resolve this thicket of a wicket of regulatory challenges in the legal, financial, and geopolitical issues, which are tending to get bigger every day. How did the TikTok ban come about? Well, TikTok's app allows users to create and watch short form videos and broke new ground by operating with an algorithm that fed viewers recommendations based on their viewing habits. But concerns about its potential to serve as a tool for Beijing to manipulate and spy on Americans predates Trump's first presidency. In 2020, Trump issued executive orders banning dealings with ByteDance and the owners of Chinese messaging app WeChat. Courts ended up blocking the orders, but less than a year ago, Congress overwhelmingly passed a law citing national security concerns to ban TikTok unless ByteDance sold it to an approved buyer. The law, which went into force not too long ago, allows for fines of up to $5,000 per U.S. TikTok user against major mobile app stores, like the ones operated by Apple and Google, and the internet hosting services like Oracle if they continue to distribute TikTok to U.S. users beyond the deadline for ByteDance's divestment. So right now they're kind of in this temporary okay period where they're allowed to, but Apple and Google are just not really feeling it. Or maybe they're doing this intentionally. Maybe they're hoping it doesn't, stay around, because TikTok actually hurts Google and it actually hurts Apple, which unfortunately. So it's interesting what's going on, and what's going to happen right now, we really don't know. Trump is working on different speculations, and the question is, who will buy TikTok? And I think the biggest issue right now is, who is it that TikTok, ByteDance, wants to sell to? And I think that's the biggest challenge we have right now. But Trump is definitely working on some things, and we'll have to see what happens. And the person that buys it, my only concern is that, are they going to use it for the right reasons, or are they going to exploit people by making this a Mickey Mouse platform for their own personal well-being? I don't know. I like the idea of the U.S., policing TikTok and getting $100 million to do so. I think that's great that it's actually being shared. I think that's an amazing thing. And it's a great way of ensuring that TikTok is able to work and make sure that things are, pretty much on the up and up. So here's one I think you're going to find very interesting. This is a new type of therapy, one that I think may just blow your mind. What kind of therapy is it? Well, it's an ultra fast cancer treatment, and it may replace radiotherapy. That's pretty cool. So this is a groundbreaking new cancer treatment known as Flash. No, not the flash drive that you have with your computer, not that one. And they say it could revolutionize radiotherapy by delivering ultra-fast, high-dose radiation in under a second, offering fewer side effects than conventional therapies. Developed through the experiments at CERN, the Flash method has shown promise in destroying tumors while sparing healthy tissue with early trials on animals and humans, showing fewer adverse effects than traditional radiation. Now, this approach has the potential to treat difficult cancers such as metastatic tumors and glioblastomas, and could become a little safer, more accessible options globally, particularly in low-income areas where radiotherapy access is limited. However, challenges remain in developing the necessary equipment and making it available to all patients, as current machines are large and unfortunately expensive. Researchers are optimistic that the new advancements could lead to more accessible and effective treatments for a wider range of cancers. So, this looks like there could be a strong potential in allowing this to move forward. Looks like it. We're just going to have to see, what happens. And I think anytime that we're able to pioneer and, make changes in the health world, I think that's an amazing thing. But the question is, are we doing the right thing? And will this benefit people, or will this be something that's out of their reach? I mean, I just read not too long ago that some major services by a few hospitals are literally being restricted. Why? I think it's because they're not getting enough money in their pocket. Let's be honest. Everything is about money, even the health industry. So we'll keep an eye on Flash and see what they're doing. And we'll definitely update you once we know what's happening with that, because I'm really curious to know if that's going to take off in the US or if it's going to be a complete flop. And under the Trump administration, the U.S. cyber defense faces some leadership loss. Ouch. So, yes, under the Trump administration, the U.S. Cybersecurity and the Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, they love acronyms, as you know, Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, face significant challenges as it's grappled with cybersecurity threats, including Chinese hacking groups like Salt Typhoon. Jen Easterly, who led the CISA from 2021 until Inauguration Day 2025, warned of the agency's uncertain future as rumors swirled about its possible downsizing or elimination. Ooh. Despite limited resources, Easterly emphasized the agency's critical role in protecting U.S. infrastructure from cyber attacks, citing her team's efforts in detecting and addressing intrusions. As Easterly departed, she reflected on the growing threats, especially from nation-state actors, and the importance of global cooperation in cybersecurity. So I think the big issue that I see with, cybersecurity is that they throw a lot of money at something, right? They think they're working toward a solution, but everyone's just kind of going their own direction, and there's no real organized plan. That's at least what I've seen, is that I don't see an organization. I just see this complete mess where everybody just kind of goes whatever way they want. And we don't really, I don't know, I actually don't see a conscientious effort to do anything. And ladies and gentlemen, the LA fires are finally out. The cause may remain unknown, but here's something that I think might excite you a little bit. AI is now searching for clues. Yeah, we use AI for a lot of stuff, don't we? So the cause of the recent Los Angeles wildfires remains uncertain, with many potential factors contributing, including dry conditions, powerful winds, and fallen power lines. As investigations continue, the U.S. Forest Service is collaborating with computer scientists to harness AI in identifying fire causes. A study revealed that over 50% of the wildfires in the western United States goes unsolved, hindering prevention efforts that seem to be around. AI models are being used to analyze past data and predict likely causes, such as human activity or lightning, aiming to improve fire risk prevention and public awareness. While AI offers promise, it is still a work in progress, showing potentials for proactive interventions to safeguard vulnerable communities. So, you know, it's interesting what they're doing. Using, I mean, it's a very interesting thing. I mean, using AI to detect the cause of the LA fires is interesting, right? And so, I think, what they're trying to do is use stuff like, drones and different sensors and use high tech to really decide what's going on. But the question is, are they really going anywhere? I don't know. Or is it just some big hype? Again, I don't know. But it always sounds good when we can throw technology in there, right? And so, they're using AI to hopefully prevent fires. So, for instance, AI algorithms can analyze patterns and data from smoke detectors, temperature sensors, and other IoT devices to predict where and when a fire is most likely to occur. So, that's kind of where they're going. They're kind of backing in from that. And this predictive capability can enable proactive measures to prevent fires before they start. So, not only are we using them to figure out what started the fire, but we're using them to figure out how to prevent fires from starting. So, I think that's a very interesting thing. And so we all know that AI is not 100% accurate all the time. So we have to build a lot in there to make sure that what we're doing is going to be giving us the right answers. So the question you may be asking is, how can AI help us battle, the wildfires? And so, you know, it's a very good question. Wildfire is natural in many forests, yet human-caused climate changes intensifies the heat and drives fires, tripling burned areas in California and the mountains. So they're trying to map the wildfires. They're using ultra-high definition AI camera systems, which they've been doing in the past, incidentally. It's not new. They're detecting red flags. Not too long ago, an algorithm used by Pano AI detected smoke from a lightning strike that caused a remote high-risk fire on Bennett Mountain in Douglas County, Colorado. So they're doing different things. And AI and also being used for climate change. But I think the real question comes down, is this something that's going to give us a noticeable difference? Or is it going to be something that is just going to, I don't know, waste time? I think it has potential. I will definitely say that it has potential, right? I definitely would say that. So we'll keep an eye on, what's happening with the fires. So I got a question for you guys. How many of you out there use YouTube? Oh, well, I feel bad for you. Oh, I use it too. But I feel bad for you because there are lots of frustrated users that are using YouTube. And they're demanding answers because they're having to put up with sometimes hour-long unskippable ads. Now, YouTube users are complaining about the unfortunate experience they're encountering that's very long with the unskippable ads. Now, some are lasting up to an hour or more. Now, that's not the norm, but they are getting some of those cases, and it's disrupting their viewing experience. Now, while some Reddit users claim to have seen ads lasting up to 90 hours, that's preposterous. It's suspected that ad blockers may be causing these extended ads by either failing to skip them or blocking the skip button. In response, YouTube stated that such incidents may be related to attempts to block ads, as the platform is actively discouraging the use of ad blockers and pushing for users to either disable them or subscribe to YouTube Premium for an ad-free experience. Google also hinted that such issues may be used to deter persistent ad blocker users. I don't know. I think this is like crazy, the stuff that's going on with this. And I feel that many people, just are okay that, Google can do whatever the heck they want. Even if it's something that's not ethical or something that's like unfair well, we're Google and we can do whatever we want. And I get so tired of hearing that, because we are Google, because we are Google, we can do whatever we want. I have a problem with that. Because we are Google, we can do whatever we want. I have to say no. I think Google is starting to really get handed their head. They've been trying to play this high and mighty card, but we're finding that they're getting into a lot of trouble. Okay. Google continues to get sued. Just a couple days ago, Google lost a bid to dismiss U.S. states' lawsuit over digital ads. I mean, this is insane. But Google has to learn that they do not have the right to do whatever they want. And I think the more that they get hit, the more that they're going to learn that things are going to get bad for them if they don't start, behaving. Apple wants to help Google defend search engine deals worth billions. Apple wants to defend its multi-billion-dollar search engine deal with Google, which is in danger because Google has been found guilty of violating antitrust laws. So Apple has asked the court handling Google's lawsuit with the U.S. government for an emergency stay so that Apple has time to intervene and plead its case before a remedy is decided. The U.S. Department of Justice sued Google for anti-competitive behavior in the search market back in 2020. And after a lengthy battle, the Department of Justice won. A main component of the lawsuit was Google's deal with Apple, which sees Google pay billions annually to be the default search engine for Safari. The court decided that the agreement between Apple and Google violate antitrust law, and is a major reason Google has been able to maintain its search engine monopoly. The U.S. government asked the court to bar Google from entering into contracts with Apple, among other restrictions, and that will cost Apple a lot of money. In 2022, for example, Google paid Apple $20 billion. Apple already asked the court to allow it to be more involved in the case as remedies are decided on, and the court denied the request due to timing. Apple appealed the decision and is asking for a stay while the appeal plays out. Apple says that because its deal with Google is at stake, it deserves a right to participate, and without a stay, it will suffer clear and substantial irreparable harm. So here's something interesting. I quote from Google: Apple will be unable to participate in discovery and develop evidence in the targeted fashion it has proposed as the litigation progresses toward a final judgment. If Apple's appeal is not resolved until, during, or after the remedy trials, Apple may well be forced to stand mute at trial as a mere spectator, while the government pursues an extreme remedy that targets Apple by name and would prohibit any commercial arrangement between Apple and Google for a decade. I think Apple is just concerned about their pockets and the amount of money. So in addition to prohibiting deals between Apple and Google, the United States Department of Justice also has more extreme remedies in mind, including forcing Google to sell its Chrome browser and uncoupling Android from other devices like Google Search and Google Play Store. Google has a lot to defend against and will prioritize Chrome over its deal with Apple. So that's a very interesting thing, that they would rather lose their deal with Apple than lose Chrome. So that just shows you friends kind of finished last here. It's definitely all about business. When initially asking to take the larger role in the case, Apple said that Google can no longer adequately represent Apple's interests because of the wide scope of the case. Unsurprisingly, the DOJ does not want Apple involved in the remedies portion of the trial, which is set to start in April. If the court decides that Google can't pay Apple to be the default search engine on Safari, Apple would still have to offer Google Search as an option in some capacity, but would not be able to continue to collect money for doing so. So it's very interesting that they did this, and I suspect that, if I had to guess, that Google probably paid Verizon to make their search engine default. You know, Verizon had stated not too long ago, their executive testified that Google search always was pre-installed on the phones. So, we didn't talk about anything specifically, but a 28-year Verizon veteran who was on a team from 2017 to 2023 understood that struck deals with Google to pick software to preload on the carrier's phone, testified to federal court in Washington. Quote, to the best of my knowledge, I believe it is pre-installed all the time. Of course he knows that. The government argues Google's $10 billion in payments annually to mobile carriers and others help the California-based tech giant win powerful default positions on smartphones and elsewhere, which fed data into the other lucrative parts of its business, such as online advertising. I've always known Google to be no good. And what clinched the deal was when they had the arrogant people. They didn't even know how to spell a town right. They were arrogant. They didn't do anything right. And then they just keep asking for more money. So I'm sorry, Google. I wouldn't spend a penny on your search because it's not worth it. It's better to just use you organically and come up for the reasons that you should come up, which is for high quality content. Wow. All right. And here's one that I think is going to open up a lot of people's eyes. Character AI claims the First Amendment protection in motion to dismiss. Character AI is a chatbot platform, and they filed a motion to dismiss a lawsuit filed by Megan Garcia, whose son, Sewell Setzer III, died after becoming emotionally attached to a chatbot named Danny. Garcia claims the platform's technology led to her son's suicide. In response, Character AI argues that it is protected by the First Amendment, as the speech generated by its chatbots is similar to other forms of expressive media like video game interactions. The platform's counsel suggests Garcia's real goal is to prompt regulations that would limit chatbot capabilities. Character AI has faced multiple lawsuits over the potential harm of its technology, including issues related to minors and unsafe content. Despite these challenges, the company has implemented safety measures to improve the user experience. So this is a good place for me to start right now, and it's probably a really good one, is so what safety measures, which is a really good question, has Character AI implemented? And I think that's probably a really good one. So they claim that they prioritize teen safety. They're collaborating with several teen online safety experts to ensure that the under 18 experience is designed with safety as a top priority. And the experts include Connect Safety, an organization with nearly 20 years of experience educating people on this. But there are a lot of new safety rules that are going to be implemented and have already been. So one of them is character moderation. So they conduct proactive detection and moderation of user-created characters, including using industry standards and custom block lists that are regularly updated. They proactively, and in response to user reports, remove characters that violate their terms of service. They also adhere to the DMCA requirements and take swift action to remove reported characters that violate copyright laws or other policies. Users may notice that they have also recently removed a group of characters that have been flagged as violative, and these will be added to their custom block list moving forward. And it means that users also won't have access to their chat history with the characters in question. So it sounds like they're trying to monitor things, but that might not be enough. But I do think it is at least a good start. All right. And Fitbit. Yes, Fitbit was hit with a $12 million fine over Ionic smartwatch burn injuries. Ouch. I wouldn't want to have been wearing that. And I had a Fitbit. Thankfully, it did not burn me. I just used it for a few weeks and I realized that I didn't want to be married to something on my wrist like this. So Fitbit has agreed to pay $12.25 million penalty after selling a big settlement with the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission, the CPSC, over defects in its Ionic smartwatch that caused burns to users. Now, the issue, which dated back to 2018, continued into 2020 and involved the smartwatch's overheating of a battery. which led to 115 reported incidents, including 78 cases of burns. With some severe injuries, Fitbit had issued a firmware update in 2020, but as you suspected, it did not fully resolve the problem. The company also failed to immediately report the hazard to the CPSC. As part of the settlement, Fitbit must submit annual safety audits and ensure enhanced compliance with the Consumer Product Safety Act. Now, I'll tell you what I tell everyone. If they were not guilty, they would not have agreed to pay the fine. And so the fact that they have agreed on the settlement of $12.25 million penalty means they know they were guilty. And Bedrock Energy targets geothermal for cooler data centers. Bedrock Energy is leveraging geothermal energy to cool data centers and improve the comfort of commercial office spaces. By drilling deeper than traditional geothermal wells, the company minimizes the land footprint required for installations, making it ideal for urban locations. Their installations, including places in Austin, Texas, and Utah, are expected to become profitable in the next year. Geothermal cooling offers higher efficiency than water and air, and particularly during hot and humid conditions, and could be an ideal solution when paired with solar farms. Recently, Bedrock raised $12 million in Series A funding to further expand its operations. So I think this might be a good idea for more sustainable types of energy. The question is there any harm with this that we're not aware of? A lot of times we hear about, the benefits of something being really positive, but they don't tell us about some of the cons. And that's the thing I always realize, that when you hear these benefits, you want to see, are there any, let's say, disadvantages? And usually you'll learn about them, but they don't come out overnight. It's usually after a problem, a lawsuit, or some frustration that people learn about them. And and I should say, our next to last time, we have a few more to go here. Our next topic I want to talk about is that ChatGPT suffered a major outage on January 23rd. So ChatGPT faced a major outage affecting users worldwide. What was the cause, and how did OpenAI resolve the situation? Well, this affect the AI reliability. And I think the question with all this comes down to a few things. So the affected access to the platform on the web and the other services, OpenAI acknowledged the issue and identified the cause quickly, working to implement a fix by 7:09 a.m. The company confirmed that the problem was resolved and was monitoring the situation. The outage also impacted OpenAI's API, but was also resolved. This is not the first time ChatGPT has faced service disruptions, with a similar issue occurring recently last year in December 2024 due to bugs in the telemetry service. So I think right now, they're trying to give away so much free AI. And the problem that I see with that is that it's not always working in the best manner possible. So, the fact that they're making AI free for so many people is great. But I think that this free AI is not really living up to what it should be living up to. That's probably the biggest thing I want to share with all of you, is that it has to live up to a standard. And I just feel right now that AI is less reliable than it was a year ago. AI 4.0, I feel, is worse than 3.5. Why? ChatGPT 3 is better than GPT-4. ChatGPT-4 is slow, it's buggy, and people say it's useless. And to charge $20 a month for a service that doesn't even work, I got a problem with that. GPT-4 is getting worse and worse with every single update. They keep making it dumber, is what a lot of people say. But this last one that they made is really pointless. The answers aren't as intelligent as they were. The code has more problems, and its ability to remember the conversation is gone. So you have to keep repeating facts over and over again. It's a shame to see something that had so much potential really drop. A lot of people said the same thing. I've noticed that it's just not the ChatGPT we were used to. Now, did they do this on purpose? Did they do this because they're waiting, because they're holding back on us? I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing, I don't trust a lot that goes on in the AI industry, because everything in the AI industry is about money. So the question you might be asked is, so why? And this is my question. Why did OpenAI make ChatGPT 4.0 so bad? A lot of people have some theories on this. We know from the API that the new tools in GPT will be based on the 32,000 context module rather than the 8,000 context model. But it means that it will have 4 times the memory, or 8 times for vanilla GPT, since that one is limited to 4K, whereas code interpreter and plugins are 8,000. Since they're probably looking to release it in some fashion, many people think that they tweaked the system prompt to more strongly prevent TOS breaking content, terms of service, and they made it longer. But each token of the system prompt takes up space and memory, which with current GPT-4 only has 8,000 versus the 4,000 tokens worth. So I feel right now the quality has gone down. The question is, will it ever get better? Of course, these things do seem subjective, but you don't have to take my opinion. You could go right on to ChatGPT. You can go on to some other ones like deepai.org and stuff, and they all seem to be able to mess stuff up. And so what I mean by that is, and this is a real interesting one, why is it that ChatGPT can't do math problems correctly anymore? It's an interesting thing. I almost think that they did this on purpose. I really do. A lot of people are saying, why is Chat so bad at math? The thing about ChatGPT as a calculator is it has a very, really advanced case of dyslexia. And the chatbot is bad at math, and it's not unique among AI in the regard. So, Anthropic Claude can't solve basic word problems. Gemini fails to understand quadratic equations, and Meta's Llama struggles with straightforward addition. So, how is it that these bots can write soliloquies, yet get tripped up by grade school level math? It has something to do with the tokenization, the process of dividing data up into chunks. For example, the word fantastic into syllables, fantast and tick, helps AI densely encode information. But because tokenizers, the AI models, do the tokenizing, they don't really know what numbers are. They frequently end up destroying the relationships between digits. For example, a tokenizer might treat the number 380 as one token, but represented as 381 as a pair of digits, 38 and 1. But tokenization isn't the only reason math's a weak spot for AI. AI systems are statistical machines trained on a lot of examples they learn. The patterns in those examples to make predictions, like the phrase to whom in an email, etc. For instance, given the multiplication problem, and using ChatGPT, having seen a lot of multiplication problems will likely infer the product of a number encoding in something like a 7, a 2, or 4, but that will probably not be the answer. So GPT-4o struggles with multi-digit multiplication. I think that is a big problem. They say it's hopeful that it might get better, but I don't really believe it's going to happen anytime soon. And that's just the honest truth. I think they've got to do a lot better. And you might be saying, gee, how do we make, Chat GPT better at math? Not easily. The thing is, when you start asking complex questions, it gets things wrong. Is it a prompt? Not really. It's a language model. It's not a calculator. It's not really designed for math or for logic. So, it can do a lot of math, but it can't do a lot of the common math or the math that we've gone to school for, even the higher level math. It just hasn't been trained enough. So one person said he has a solution. He asked it to write a Python code to solve the question. It usually imports different things and solves it. It runs the same on Python to get the result. At the end of the day, it's a language model and it's a good one. To do math, you better seek something else or use a different strategy because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you have to realize that it is a language system, right? And so the way we think of numbers, the way we think of just subtracting, it can't seem to figure this stuff out. So the more we get immersed in tech, the more we start realizing how AI can actually, um, let's say, enhance our lives, we have to also be understanding that AI can also hurt our lives. So we have to have a delicate balance of, you know, what is AI? When can we use AI? Using it as a guide, but don't use it as your be all end all because if you do, you're going to be very, very disappointed. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that AI has potentials, but it for right now, I feel that it's not being trained in what it should be getting trained. It's getting trained in a lot of nonsense, if you ask me. And, it's just not getting used to doing the simple things. So I don't know. I think it's going to have to go through some more revisions and something that a lot of people might not really understand, but it's going to have to happen. Um, and so you can't just think that everything AI does is right. You have to also understand that what we think of as an idiom, what we think of in one language, if you ask it to translate, of course, that's going to get wrong when you go from a language to language, right? But it can't even understand what we do every day and then how to parse that. So I think it's got a long way to go. And you might have a good question for me, and that is, how long till Chat GPT can do good math? Um, a while. It can explain concepts, but it can't do math for squat. And so the question is, will it ever be good at math? Don't know. It wasn't built for math. That's the number one thing I want to tell you. So I hope you guys learned a lot. So this is a weekly show. We also rolled out something brand new called JMOR Tech Bite Blunders. It's designed to make you guys laugh. You can reach that by visiting my link tree, or you can just go to jmor.com under social and you'll find it right there. I think it's important, ladies and gentlemen, that we understand the reason for things. All right. Have yourself a great rest of your night, and I'm going to catch you real soon. Be well, everyone.